Welcome to the 7th chapter of the book of Isaiah. It begins, "And it came to pass in the days of Ahaz, son of Jotham." So we have skipped over Jotham here in Isaiah, although you can pick it up in Corinthians, 2 Corinthians, and Kings. I think 2 Kings, I believe. He was the son of Uzziah. This is where Isaiah began his prophecy during Uzziah, the king of Judah. That Rezin, king of Aram, and Pekah we call him in the King James, son of Remaliah, Vasilevs Israel, against Jerusalem they came, they ascended, to wage war with it. Polemics, arguing over words, and that's where it comes from. It's a derivative. And they were not able to assault it. Rezin was the king of Syria, which was right north in Damascus. Today, Israel still has problems with Syria and Damascus, still around. And Pekah, the son of Remaliah, reigned 20 years. He was the king of Israel, second to the last, I believe. And he was an army officer that killed Pekahiah, who was the king before him. So, therefore, he also attacked Judah, and it goes into this in 2 Chronicles 28, 5-15, where he killed over 120,000. Again, numbers has to do with the Hebrew alphabet, numeric alphabet, and one longer line down could make it a different letter. And this happens quite often in Hebrew. And it says he took 200,000 captive to Samaria, and then he returned them when the prophet came and said that was wrong, what they were doing. But he wasn't able to actually assault Jerusalem, but he did come close. Both of these did, Rezin and Pekah. And it was announced in the house of David, that's where Ahaz is the king of, saying, Aram, Syria, joined in harmony to Ephraim, that's Israel. And it startled his soul and the soul of his people, because they didn't know if they were going to be taken by these kings or not. And were startled in which manner a tree in a grove is shaken by a wind. They really shook up. And the Lord said to Isaiah, well, go forth to meet Ahaz, you and the one being left behind, Jashub, your son, to the upper pool by the field of the fuller, agriculture, a field has to do with a field. Odu, and odometer, derivative. And you shall say to him, guard to be still, and do not fear, nor your soul be weak. Asthenito is a verb, to be weak, and we have asthenia, being weakened. From the two xylon, two trees, of these smoking firebrands. So, and then the exclamation and the imperative, don't fear it. For whenever the orgy of my rage takes place again, I will heal. So I'm not exactly sure that whenever my rage takes place, apparently against these kings, then he will help. Has it heal it or help them maybe? I will help. And as far as the son of Aram, that's Rezin, and the son of Remaliah, that's Pekah, that they consulted wicked counsel, saying, we shall ascend unto Judea, and conversing together with them, we shall turn them to us, and we will, that is talking the people into giving up, and we will give reign over them to the son of Tavel. Now, whoever that is, somebody there that was in Judah that was favorable towards Israel. Then the Lord continues, thus says the Lord Sabaoth, in no way should this counsel be, nor will it be. Will it abide, nor will it be. So they're not going to do what they think they can do. But the cephalic has to do with the head, derivative, but the head of Aram is Damascus, and the kephali of Damasku is Racine. But yet, 60 and 5 years, the kingdom of Ephraim will fail from the people. Now, it seems like it was sooner than that because it was the next king where it fell, but maybe I'm not exactly sure what it's referring to, exactly what. There may have been something that continued with the kingdom, I don't know. But anyway, Israel did fall. And the head, the kephali of Ephraim, that is Israel, is Somoron, Samaria. And the kephali of Somoron is the son of Romaliu, Pekah. And if you should not trust, neither should you perceive. I guess that's a warning to Ahaz. If you're not going to believe it, then you won't understand anything that I'm talking about. That's the best I can come up to what it means. And then in verse 10, it continues this important part of Isaiah prophecy. And the Lord proceeded to speak to Ahaz, saying, ask for yourself Simeon, a sign, semaphore comes from that, by the Lord your God, in the depth, anything low or anything high, in the height. And Ahaz says, in no way shall I ask, nor shall I test the Lord. And he said, either Isaiah or the Lord, hear indeed, O house of David, is it a small thing to you to furnish a struggle to men? Then how do you furnish a struggle to the Lord? If you don't believe this, then how can you handle other things? I suppose that would be the closest thing that, from what I can gather of what it's saying there. And on account of this, the Lord himself will give to you a sign. If you don't want to do it, he'll do it. Behold, the Parthenos, the virgin, will conceive in the womb, a gastric, and shall bear a son, and you shall call his name Emmanuel. Now, this here is a quotation that is used in the Matthew 1, 22 and 23. And it says that after the angel came and told Mary, I believe it was, or was it Zacharias maybe, this completely happened, that should be fulfilled the thing having been spoken by the Lord through the prophet, saying, so that Matthew is writing this, behold, the virgin has one in the womb, and she shall birth a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel, which is being translated, God with us. Doesn't say that, but that's what it means, God with us. Now, some people try to say that this is a young woman, and I'm losing my, not faith, but my tolerance with Wikipedia. Wikipedia is great for certain historical facts, a lot of historical facts. But when it comes to the things of the Bible, it really throws out a lot of suppositions. It says this scholar said this, and another scholar said that, and they're always say the opposite of what the Bible is saying. So it feels like that there's somebody that is going in there and writing all these things, especially in the Old Testament, to disprove the things that are said. And so right here, it said that when I looked up Emmanuel, that, well, it means a young woman. Behold the virgin. It means a young woman. Well, it doesn't mean a young woman. Then in Wikipedia, under, I think it's under the Parthenon, no, it's under Athena, who was a goddess, a mythological goddess in Athens, named after Athens, that they have this temple called the Parthenon, which means it's a building for the Virgin. And now it says in another place, so in Wikipedia under Athena, it says Athena never had a consort or lover and is thus known as Athena Parthenos, Virgin Athena. Her most famous temple, the Parthenon, on the Acropolis in Athens, takes its name from this title. It is not merely an observation of her virginity, but a recognition of her role as enforcer of rules of sexual modesty and ritual mystery. Even beyond recognition, the Athenians allotted the goddess value based on this pureness of virginity, as it upheld a rudiment of female behavior in the patriarchal society. So here, when you don't go into this part that the Jews don't like, they call it a young woman, and they probably rewrote the Emmanuel, what it means, in Wikipedia. But yet, if you do a little research, you'll see that the usage of this is not young woman, it's a virgin. So other things, I've seen quite a few of these things I look up in Wikipedia, and I'm starting to see a pattern now. If it has anything to do with the Bible, in quotations and Jesus and in the Old Testament, then it's rewritten by somebody to say, well, this scholar says this, doesn't mean this, it doesn't mean this, it was written later than it could possibly have been, on and on and on, all these lies that have been written. What do these scholars know if they are so completely wrong? To me, it's meaningless. What these scholars are. And I think you have to start looking today and looking what scholars are. A person can be a liar and be a charlatan and be a lowlife and can go and become a scholar by getting a degree at Harvard or any university and call himself a scholar and go out and do all kinds of damage. And that's what's happening today. It's really sad. So take it for what they say is a grain of salt, or not a grain of sand would be worse. Then it continues after this translation here of Emmanuel. It says, butter and honey he shall eat before he knows to prefer wicked or to choose the good. Now you can add this word here, 10:16:2, vuteron. We have butter as a transliteration. Before he knows to choose good. For before the male child knows good or evil, in resisting persuasion of wickedness, he chooses the good, and the land shall be abandoned, which you fear of, from in front of these two kings. Now, why that's thrown in there, the land will be abandoned, maybe means that these two kings will be gone. But God shall bring upon you and upon your people in Judea and upon the house of your father days which have not yet come, from which day Ephraim removed from Judah the king of the Assyrians. So that was Menahem, the father of Pekahiah, who removed the Assyrians. So you can go and check out Menahem and Kings. And it will be in that day, the Lord will whistle for the flies, which shall dominate part of the river of Egypt, that Pharaoh, and for the, you can add this one to it, bee, which is in the place of the Assyrians. Melisi, with the word Melissa, means bee in Greek, 3192:2. So the Lord is going to call Egypt and Assyria. And they shall come, and they shall all rest in the ravines of the place. I'm not exactly sure if that's talking about the Holy Mount, and in the burrows of the rocks, and into the caves. The Petra is a rock, petroglyph, carving on a rock. Spelunkers, or cave people that search in the caves, and into every breach and into every tree. So they're going to be inundating this area. In that day the Lord shall shave with the razor the head. Now I have of the king, but I think it should be by the king of the Assyrians from the other side of the river, even the hairs of the feet, and he will remove the beard. That is the king of the Assyrians. And it will be in that day. So who are these people that are coming? Basically Muslims today, if it's talking about today, if it was talking about Syria and the Egyptians coming in other times, then that's a possibility. Certainly not the Roman time. So it was either right a couple hundred years after this, or it was going to still happen. And it will be in that day a man shall maintain a heifer of an oxen and 2 sheep, and it will be from the much drinking of milk, every one being left behind upon the land shall eat butter and honey. And it will be in that day that every place wherever might be 1,000 grapevines worth 1,000 shekels, they shall be uncultivated for the thorn bush. Well, I don't quite understand that. It will be in that day that every place, it will be for the much drinking of milk, everyone being left behind upon the land shall, everyone shall eat the butter and honey. So I'm not exactly sure if it being left behind is there's very few, they'll still be alive. It will be in that day, and there's not going to be very much. It's going to be thorn bushes. With the arrow and bow they shall enter there. For it is an uncultivated land, and I'm not exactly sure. This sounds like more of the future. Well, it could be. I don't know. And the thorn bush will be in all the land. And every mountain being plowed shall be plowed, and in no way shall fear come upon there, for it will be from the uncultivated land thorn bush, for a land of pastured sheep and for trampling of the ox. So I really, this I wrote down as I have a hard time understanding from like 17 all the way down to 25, if it's talking about, when it's talking about. You can possibly figure it out better than I can. I prayed about it and did the best I can with trying to understand that. Either if there was the Assyrians and the Egyptians coming, then it would be here in the future, near future. And if it's something that hasn't happened yet, then we'll find out. Chapter 8, it continues with the Assyria, explaining the usage or the use of the Assyrians for this instrument for destruction. Now, the Assyrians today, they're no longer Assyria, but it's basically northern Iraq. The Assyrians then even went over into Turkey, across the Euphrates River area, and then they came down. But they were from northern Iraq, Nineveh, up where the Kurds are today. So we'll find out more about this in chapter 8, and hope you'll join us in chapter 8, and God bless.